Imagine a world where starting your car required dangerous hand cranking that broke arms and killed drivers, where engines knocked violently and wore out in months, where electric lights barely existed outside cities. What you are about to discover is the story of an inventor who solved all these problems and dozens more, holding over 300 patents, yet remains virtually unknown while names like Edison and Ford dominate history books. In a small workshop in Dayton, Ohio, a self-taught engineer was revolutionizing technology that would transform daily life for billions of people, creating inventions so fundamental we can barely imagine modern existence without them. This is the remarkable tale of Charles Franklin Kettering, the forgotten genius who invented the electric starter that made automobiles practical, developed leaded gasoline that powered the 20th century, created the first practical electric cash register, and pioneered technologies from automotive paint to guided missiles. Born on August 29, 1876, on a farm near Loudonville, Ohio, Charles grew up in rural poverty where mechanical ingenuity was essential for survival and broken equipment meant financial disaster. From childhood, he displayed an insatiable curiosity about how things worked, taking apart farm equipment and rebuilding it better, often to his father's frustration when experiments failed and tools were temporarily unusable. His eyesight was poor, making reading difficult and causing severe headaches that forced him to drop out of college multiple times, yet he persisted through sheer determination and a brilliant mechanical mind that could visualize complex systems. After finally graduating from Ohio State University with an engineering degree in 1904 at age 27, much older than typical graduates, Kettering joined the National Cash Register Company in Dayton. At NCR, he developed the first electric cash register in 1906, replacing mechanical systems with electric motors and creating a product that revolutionized retail operations worldwide. This invention alone would have secured his legacy, but for Kettering it was merely the beginning of a career that would produce breakthrough after breakthrough across multiple fields. If these stories of forgotten American inventors inspire you, subscribe to Hidden Minds and activate the notification bell to discover more overlooked pioneers who shaped the modern world from the shadows. Visit the link in the description for patent documents, technical specifications, and additional resources about Charles Kettering's extraordinary contributions to automotive and electrical engineering. In 1909, Kettering left NCR to found the Dayton Engineering Laboratories Company, known as Delco, with partner Edward Deeds, focusing on solving the automotive industry's most dangerous and frustrating problem. Early automobiles required hand cranking to start, a process that was not merely inconvenient but genuinely life-threatening, with the crank often kicking back violently when engines backfired. Broken arms, dislocated shoulders, fractured jaws, and even deaths occurred regularly, with one particularly tragic incident involving the wife of a Cadillac executive spurring the company to seek a solution. Byron Carter, founder of Carter Car, died in 1908 after his jaw was broken by a hand crank kickback while helping a stranded motorist, an incident that convinced Cadillac's Henry Leland that automobiles needed a safer starting method. Leland contacted Kettering, who had gained a reputation for solving impossible problems, and challenged him to develop an electric self-starter that could reliably turn over an internal combustion engine. The problem seemed insurmountable because existing electric motors powerful enough to crank engines were too large and heavy to mount on automobiles, while lighter motors lacked sufficient torque. Kettering's breakthrough came from recognizing that the starter motor only needed to operate for a few seconds, allowing him to design a motor that could briefly produce enormous power without overheating or requiring massive batteries. His electric starter system, patented in 1911, included not just the motor but an integrated ignition system and lighting system, creating a comprehensive electrical architecture for automobiles. The first production car with Kettering's electric starter was the 1912 Cadillac, and the invention was so transformative that it's often cited as the development that made automobiles accessible to women. Previously, many women lacked the physical strength to hand crank engines, but electric starters eliminated this barrier and dramatically expanded the potential automobile market, changing American society's relationship with transportation. Within a few years, virtually every automobile manufacturer adopted electric starters, and hand cranking became obsolete, a dangerous practice relegated to history. General Motors recognized Kettering's genius and acquired Delco in 1916, making him head of research for the entire corporation, a position he would hold for 27 years. At GM Research, Kettering assembled a team of brilliant engineers and scientists, creating an innovation laboratory that would produce breakthrough after breakthrough across automotive and industrial technology. One of his most significant but controversial contributions was the development of tetraethyl lead as a gasoline additive, invented in 1921 to eliminate engine knock and increase compression ratios. Leaded gasoline, marketed as ethyl, allowed engines to run more efficiently and powerfully, making high-performance automobiles practical and dominating the fuel market for over 50 years. However, Kettering and his colleagues at GM were aware of lead's toxicity, and several workers died during early production, yet the company and Kettering himself downplayed health concerns for decades. This aspect of Kettering's legacy remains deeply problematic, as leaded gasoline would eventually poison millions of children worldwide before being banned in the 1970s and 80s, causing incalculable harm to public health. Kettering's defenders argue he believed the lead concentrations were safe and that unleaded alternatives weren't technically feasible at the time, while critics contend he prioritized profits over health and suppressed evidence of toxicity. Regardless of this controversy, Kettering's other automotive innovations were unambiguously beneficial, including developing Duco lacquer paint in 1923 that allowed cars to be painted in vibrant colors that dried in hours instead of weeks. Before Duco paint, automobile painting required multiple coats of varnish that took weeks to dry properly, limiting color options and slowing production, while Kettering's quick-drying lacquer revolutionized automotive manufacturing. He also developed improved engine cooling systems, lightweight diesel engines for locomotives and trucks, two-stroke diesel engines, and countless refinements to ignition systems, carburetors, and transmission technology. During World War II, Kettering's research division contributed to the war effort by developing improved engines for military vehicles, working on proximity fuses for artillery shells, and researching guided missile technology. His interest in aviation led to innovations in aircraft engines, and he worked on early concepts for jet propulsion decades before jets became commercially viable. Beyond automotive technology, Kettering pursued research in fields as diverse as photosynthesis, investigating how plants convert sunlight to energy as a potential model for artificial fuel production, and studying the fundamental chemistry of combustion. He established the Charles F. Kettering Foundation in 1927, dedicating resources to scientific research and education, particularly focusing on photosynthesis research that he believed held keys to solving energy problems. The foundation still operates today, though its focus has shifted from scientific research to education policy and civic engagement, continuing Kettering's belief in the transformative power of knowledge. Kettering was also a talented public speaker and advocate for scientific research, arguing that society should invest heavily in basic research whose applications might not be immediately obvious but would eventually yield enormous benefits. His philosophy emphasized practical problem solving over pure theory, famously stating that a problem well stated is a problem half solved, reflecting his engineering approach to innovation. He believed strongly in the importance of failure, telling his researchers that an inventor fails his way to success, encouraging experimentation and risk-taking rather than cautious incremental progress. This management philosophy helped create an innovative culture at GM Research that attracted talented engineers and produced breakthrough technologies across multiple fields. Kettering held over 300 patents by the time of his death, covering everything from portable lighting systems to incubators for premature infants, demonstrating the breadth of his inventive genius. He received numerous honors during his lifetime, including the Hoover Medal, the Franklin Medal, and over 40 honorary doctorates from universities recognizing his contributions to engineering. Yet despite these accolades within technical communities, Kettering never achieved the public recognition of contemporaries like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, or the Wright brothers, remaining largely unknown outside engineering circles. Part of this obscurity stems from the fact that Kettering worked primarily for corporations rather than operating as an independent inventor-entrepreneur, meaning his innovations were branded with company names rather than his personal identity. When people used electric starters, they thought of Cadillac or General Motors, not Charles Kettering, and when they filled their tanks with ethyl gasoline, they didn't associate it with an individual inventor. This corporate anonymity meant Kettering's contributions became invisible to the general public even as they transformed daily life for millions. Additionally, many of Kettering's inventions were enabling technologies that made other things possible rather than end products that consumers directly purchased and recognized. The electric starter made automobiles practical for mass adoption, but people celebrated car manufacturers and drivers, not the engineer who solved the starting problem. Kettering retired from General Motors in 1947 at age 71, having spent over 3 decades as the company's research chief and contributing to its rise as the world's largest automobile manufacturer. He spent his retirement years continuing research through his foundation, particularly focusing on photosynthesis and chlorophyll chemistry, remaining intellectually active and curious until his final days. Charles Kettering died on November 25, 1958, at age 82, leaving behind a legacy of innovations that had fundamentally reshaped transportation, manufacturing, and daily life. His obituaries in technical journals emphasized his extraordinary contributions, but mainstream coverage was surprisingly limited given how profoundly his inventions had impacted modern society. In the decades since his death, Kettering has been largely forgotten except among automotive historians and engineers who recognize him as one of the most prolific and impactful inventors of the 20th century. The Kettering University in Flint, Michigan, formerly called GMI Engineering and Management Institute, honors his legacy by training engineers in the practical, problem-solving tradition he exemplified. His papers, preserved at Kettering University and Ohio Historical Society, reveal a brilliant mind that moved freely between theoretical understanding and practical application, always seeking elegant solutions to real problems. Modern automobiles still use refined versions of technologies Kettering pioneered, from electric starters and electrical systems to quick-drying paints and efficient combustion designs. The leaded gasoline controversy remains a dark chapter in his legacy, a reminder that even brilliant inventors can make decisions with catastrophic unintended consequences when commercial interests override health concerns. Yet his overall contributions to making automobiles practical, affordable, and accessible cannot be denied, as his inventions removed barriers that had kept cars as expensive toys for the wealthy. Every time you start your car with the turn of a key or push of a button, you're using technology Charles Kettering invented over a century ago, a reminder that the most fundamental innovations often become invisible. The man who revolutionized automotive technology before Ford perfected mass production, who held more patents than most famous inventors, who made modern transportation possible, deserves recognition as one of America's greatest engineering minds. Charles Kettering's story reminds us that history often celebrates entrepreneurs and industrialists while overlooking the engineers and inventors whose actual innovations made those business empires possible. The forgotten genius from Dayton whose electric starter changed the world, whose research shaped an entire industry, whose name should be mentioned alongside Edison and Ford, remains hidden in the shadows of automotive history.